Hello, welcome back to the Cricket Nerds. We've got a mega episode for you today. From RINKU Singh hitting 5 sixes in a row to RCB somehow losing after scoring 213 runs. Ambati Rayudu scoring a fast 50. Oh, no, it was Ajinkya Rahane.
Ajinkya Rahane.
Yeah. Just tons of confusing stuff has happened and we're all loving it. Like, the IPL is absolutely thriving. So we're going to cover a hell of a lot in this episode. It will all be time-stamped. So if you just want to look at a particular match, our reaction to a particular match, just, click down below on the time that it'll be in the description. Otherwise, if you're a real cricket nerd, then you should watch the whole thing and you will naturally have already liked and subscribed. And leave a comment down below. So let's get into it. The first match that we're going to look at is Rajasthan Royals versus Delhi Capitals. Teams at opposing ends of form and class and distinction. Benji, you were somebody that really called them out at the start. I thought Delhi had a very good-looking squad. You called my bluff. You said, no, they're trash. And it turns out you were right. So let's talk a little bit about Rajasthan, because they got off to an amazing start. Zach, you're an opening batter. What if you were going to contrast your experience opening the batting and your performances
with Josh Buttler
and Jaiswal? How would you say that marries up?
Yeah, I'm completely the opposite. I actually think that Jaiswal and Buttler they complement each other incredibly well, because of the fact that Josh Buttler can play where he could bat for 20 overs. He's got that innings in him, which means that he's kind of similar to all the best opening partnerships that have happened in the past in the IPL, where you've got one batsman who will bat really strongly in the power play and try and get as many runs as they can really quickly, while the other person kind of plays an anchor role and then accelerates at the end. I think RCB are trying that with Kohli and Duplessis, with Duplessis kind of firing at the end. But yeah, Buttler and Jaiswal, they just have it nailed on, really. And that's all the batting that was really needed. Shimron Hetmyer coming in at number 5, when you've got Buttler and Jaiswal coming in at the top doing so well, I feel like he's wasted a bit at number 5. I know they've got Samson at number 3, but should they be batting Hetmyer at number 4, maybe?
I don't know. I personally like the defined role that Hetmyer's got. I sound like a broken record when I talk about role definition, but I think Shimron Hetmyer at 5 makes sense. And I think if you're going to give Rian Parag an actual role, why not at 4 to kind of go for it? He did a terrible job, don't get me wrong, but at least he's got a role.
I mean, he did a terrible job, but is it as worst job as Devdutt Padikkal was doing as well, who seemed to be having equally large troubles at that number 4 spot as well? Yeah. I think Hetmyer, I'm with you, James. I think that he's comes in at a specific time, and that's where he's good. So you want him in the last 6 overs to just try and smash it for 6 every single ball. And I think that's his role, and I think it works really well. And I think especially when you've got the other batting of Jaiswal, Buttler, Samson, it works only if that top order, that top 4 fires too, allowing them to come in and play that role. And I think that's where Rajasthan have succeeded this year, where, segue, Delhi have failed. Because Delhi have had Warner and Prithvi Shaw opening the batting. Warner's looked okay. He's had a couple of good innings. I mean, he was sort of the anchor role in the Delhi chase, but Prithvi Shaw wasn't there to support him. Manesh Pandey wasn't there to support him. And then just the rest of that order, it just isn't quite working. I think, as we talked about in the preview with Delhi, I never saw how they were going to balance that side, especially with all their different overseas. And I think we're seeing that now. They can't balance their side properly. They're not sure what their mix should be. And I think that's Delhi's biggest problem.
They've got some really good players, don't they? Like, they've got Rovman Powell, who really should be batting up the order. I think they don't it's that role definition, like James was saying earlier, with Riley Rousseau, Rovman Powell. Where are they going to bat? Is Manish Pandey? Should they have him in at number 3? It's really hard because Prithvi Shaw is a hit or miss sort of opener. Occasionally he'll play an amazing innings. Like, it wasn't that long ago since he scored his triple century in the first class game. But yeah, he's not consistent enough, which means that a lot of pressure's on David Warner. And that's not bad because David Warner has done so well in the IPL. He's the quickest player to 6,000 runs in the IPL. But yeah, there's a lot on him when you've got no one else really firing or in form. Too many hit or miss players for my liking there.
I've got 2 points about the batting that I think Delhi really need to work on. One is David Warner's strike rate. I get that he's having to kind of hold up these innings, but he is going really slowly. And when you are chasing big totals, there's no benefit to you just nurdling it around. You really need to go for it. And the other one is stop with this whole left-right combination when you're sending people into bat, because
it's annoying.
it is annoying and it's stupid. It doesn't work. Like, I'm more than happy if they are sending people in where they generally do bat. But for Rovman Powell to be in at, what is he, 7? In at 7 behind Axar Patel and Lalit Yadav is stupid.
Makes no sense.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Riley Rousseau is not a number 4. He's a number 3 at lowest, I personally think. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Manish Pandey is more of a 4. Lots of kind of, mind-numbingly awful decisions from Ricky Ponting, who you would have thought would be really good. And then just very, very good from Sandeep Sharma, Ravi Ashwin, and Yuzi Chahal and Trent Bolt. All of them get a gold star from James. Let's move on. Let's move on to the next match, which was Mumbai versus CSK. Now, Benji, I know you're itching to talk about this one because it was a resounding victory for CSK, and mostly because of a very unlikely hero.
I was going to say an unlikely hero, and AJINKYA Rahane was someone that I was very questioning when CSK bought him in the auction this year. He was in my CSK 11 along with Raidu. I had them both in, actually, with the idea that he was going to be an impact player to sub out. But he looks completely different to how he was when he was at KKR the last couple of years. I think it was at Delhi the year before, wasn't he, or something like that?
He's played at Rajasthan a few times, I think.
He's had a torrid time in the IPL recently, though. But that 61 off 27, they must have seen something in the nets with AJINKYA Rahane. I want to come on to talking about Chennai's injury problems at the moment, because that is worrying. We'll talk more about that in a second. But yeah, Gaikwad, again, looked fantastic. I think Gaikwad, just in a chase like that, played exactly his correct role. As soon as Conway went, it was just anchor it, stick there the whole time, and we'll win. And then the other batters just batted around him perfectly. Like Shivam Dubey came in, did his job, and Bati Raidu looked fine. But yeah, and AJINKYA Rahane with that blitzkrieg 61 was fantastic. And yeah, it's really just highlighting Mumbai's issues. But concern for CSK, Deepak Chahar went off injured. No Ben Stokes, no Moeen Ali. So is that tactical? Is that forced? What's going on there?
So I think Moeen Ali was ill, so not too much to worry about there. Ben Stokes, I'd say more to worry about from an England standpoint than a CSK one, because he wasn't really offering that much, and it allowed CSK to play Sisanda Magala and Dwayne Pretorius, which did a hell of a lot to help their death bowling. So I don't think there's a whole lot of loss there. Deepak Chahar obviously is a big loss, but the spin in the middle overs is it's what holds CSK together. But Zach, I don't know if you want to talk about Mumbai's batting at all. We've kind of done this game in reverse, but it's a mixed bag, isn't it?
I think you can say a lot for how the captain's doing. You look at the RCB batting, I know their bowling's terrible, but Duplessis is leading from the front, and it's giving a lot of confidence to the rest of the batsmen. I know David Warner's hoping the same will happen for Delhi, but for Rohit Sharma, he's really struggling at the moment, and I think that's kind of having a knock-on effect on the rest of the team. And then your star player at number 4 in Suryakumar Yadav, he's struggling as well, which means that when you've got your opener and your star player at number 4 struggling, it puts a lot of pressure on the other people. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Ishan Kishan, who they spent a lot of money on. It's going to put a lot of pressure on Cameron Green, who they spent even more money on. And then it's like, well, who's going to fill in the gaps from there? Personally, I'd like to see Devolt Brevis get back in that team, along with Tristan Stubbs. I know Tristan Stubbs played, but have him more in that middle order.
Yeah. Not in at 8. Where's the
not in at 8? It just adds that youth and that enthusiasm that we saw last season from those two batsmen, and Mumbai need to run with that rather than just keeping on giving Cameron Green a go. I know you spent a lot of money on him. You don't need to play him. So Mumbai have a lot of questions, especially when they're bowling struggling, with Archer injured potentially, Bumrah not playing. So yeah, then their batting needs to fire. They need players like Suryakumar Yadav and Ishan Kishan making really significant scores, and then also from the captain as well. So a lot rides on those. But I just thought Chennai bowled really well as well.
Yeah.
I'm actually quite jealous of how their bowlers in that game had a really defined role, which RCB are lacking. But yeah, so their bowlers looked really good. And they've got Mitchell Santner, kind of classic New Zealander, just flies under the radar, performs every single game.
Super reliable. Yeah.
And if he gets a chance to finish the game with a bat, he can
That's
hit
the
60.
thing. I've been harping on about Mitch Santner for season after season, and he's never got a look in, because Chennai always had the Ngidi, the DJ Bravo, and the Moeen Ali for a number of years. They've never really had the space to fit Mitch Santner in. And I think the last 2 seasons he's been primarily a drinks carrier. He's an absolute gun player, and I think bowling and batting, as you say, Zach, he's been a real stalwart this year, and I think it's good for Chennai because it's making the overseas compete for their spot. Like I can see Devon Conway struggling to retain his spot with his recent performances and maybe losing his space to Ben Stokes.
Yeah. Let's move on because I'm so excited to talk about this next game.
Let's talk about this.
I watched the whole thing. I absolutely loved it. It even made the game straight after it on the same day a little bit better because even though Punjab lost, KKR beat Gujarat Titans in an absolute thriller, a crunch match, which I don't think Gujarat have actually lost a crunch match yet. Every single moment in this season and the season before that was 50-50, they'd all gone Gujarat's way. This time was one of those where it was 90-10 and it went Kolkata's way. So let's set the scene, okay? Gujarat, they've batted first.
Wait, you've missed one key point here.
Oh, go on.
Rashid Khan was named captain of Gujarat Titans.
You know what? That is a big moment. Yeah,
that's the first big moment.
That is first of all, the scene is set. Rashid Khan is captain.
Where was Hardik? Was he injured or ill?
Believe he was injured.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, he's
that's
quite an injury-prone guy. So yeah, Gujarat bat first, and Shubhas and Sahar get off to a very subpar start. However, once again, Gujarat are lifted to the great heights of a batting total through their middle order, who most certainly did fire. Notably, Vijay Shankar, who, in almost an Ajinkya-esque way, just went from being absolute zero to hero by producing 63 runs from only 24 balls. One of the greatest cameos that Gujarat have had.
My camera's frozen.
Oh, it is. I thought you were just really interested.
No, let's just carry my phone's lost battery. Let me go to village camera.
Brilliant.
All right. I'm keeping this in, by the way. Oh, there he is. Right.
I'm just smiling.
Yeah.
I like that you mentioned Ajinkya Rahane when you're talking about Vijay Shankar, because at the last World Cup that was in India, Vijay Shankar got picked over Ajinkya Rahane. And that's the last time he's ever played an international for India, was in the semi-final of the 2011 World Cup. And then after that, he's never played for India again. But yeah, Shankar and Sai Siddharthan, though, for me, has been the real impressing batter.
Yeah, emerging player of the tournament so far for me.
So then, yeah, a mediocre to poor effort from the KKR bowlers left them chasing 205 runs for the win. So the only people that did okay, Sunil Narayan, who is just a consistent legend, taking 3, and Suyash Sharma, who again similar economy, and he took a wicket of I can never say this one. Manahar. Yeah, we'll just go with the surname. So there we go. There's the context. KKR start off, and basically from the off, things just go horribly wrong until Venkatesh Iyer and Nitish Rana pick up a beautiful partnership. Zach, what was your opinion on that partnership?
Oh, Venkatesh Iyer, where's he been for about a season and a half? I mean, that man, when he gets going, is really impressive to watch. And I think we've all missed a bit of Venkatesh Iyer playing well in the IPL. Kolkata Knight Riders have definitely missed it, because if you look at your team sheet and you think, oh yeah, Venkatesh Iyer, we can bank on him scoring runs, it just makes that Kolkata Knight Riders lineup look so much more dangerous, especially when you've got Andre Russell and Rinku Singh to kind of finish things off, and then Nitish Rana playing that anchor role. It just looks so much stronger. And yeah, he played a very good innings, ably supported by the captain. And they set the scene perfectly for Rinku Singh, the new king, to work his magic, really.
Kinku.
And all of that was after the absolute they went to the depths of despair because Rashid Khan managed to get a hat trick. So things looked like they were going KKR's way.
Yeah.
And then Alzari Joseph was absolutely brilliant, removing the 2 in batsmen. Rinku Singh then, he's struggling. It's kind of like a bit like Rahul Twatia against Punjab. I think they were Kings 11 Punjab back then. Just commentators like, he's struggling here. He's only going to run a ball, needs to start going. Andre Russell throws away his wicket. Sunil Narayan throws away his wicket. Shardul the Lord Thakur throws away his wicket. And Rashid Khan is, celebrating, hat trick, all good things. And then it comes down to, so Rinku Singh then starts teeing off. And what did they need? It was like 50 odd off the last 8 balls or something.
Oh, something stupid. Yeah.
But it was 28 off the last over was required. And I think anybody is going to be pretty confident they can defend that. Yash Dayal, the unfortunate bowler in our tail. Benji, you're an unfortunate bowler. What's your opinion?
That's so harsh. I mean, he looked good at his first ball of the over was all right when it got hit for the 1 by Umesh Yadav, but then anything he did, it was one of the greatest last overs I've ever seen. Rinku Singh to hit 5 sixes back to back in a row to win the game. It was just the scenes are incredible. I think they needed 4 off the last ball to win after he'd hit his first 4 sixes, and he just plays an excellent flat batted shot straight. And yeah, I mean, what a moment for KKR! What a moment for Rinku Singh!
What moment for the IPL? I think
what moment for the IPL?
I personally think that is the greatest end to a game that there has ever been in the IPL, and I say that as a Punjab fan with the double super over. I think that is the greatest.
And then we had the Masters the next day. It was just what a day. It was the same day. It was the Masters. It was just such a great day. I think it was phenomenal stuff from Rinku Singh. I think actually Gujarat bowlers had bowled better with the overall than KKR. They'd given away less extras. They'd been more economical aside from poor old Josh Little. And yeah, you just feel for Yash Dayal, don't you? Like when it's just things aren't going right.
Poor bloke.
Yeah.
I would like to just make a shout out to Kolkata Knight Riders because they've they've got this new coach who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he's been really successful in the Indian domestic scene. And he's a very smart man. And one thing that I liked about KKR's lineup, even though they all got out for Golden Ducks, they've kind of everyone's got a defined position in KKR. And Shardul Thakur had a really good innings in the last match, which won KKR the game. And a lot of teams in that situation would just promote that batsman. They've kept him at number 8. They've kept him in that role. And I think when you give your players those defined roles, then it gives them so much more confidence. Venkatesh Iyer, he's got that defined role, got given the confidence, he ends up coming good. Umesh Yadav had a difficult few first games, but then he's been kept as the opening bowler, and he actually bowled really well for KKR. And I think that sort of process of giving your players that confidence is really important. And that's why I think KKR are dark horses for this IPL.
So shout out to Chandrakant Pandit. There you go, Zach.
Yeah.
That's the coach. So yeah, we'll move on. Even though I don't want to, because it goes
Tell
to
us
the
about
game
this,
that I
James,
really
because
enjoyed.
I want to ask you a question about this game, James. What did you think about Punjab's batting, with the exception of Shikhar getting stranded on 99? What did you just think about the decision making of the Punjab batters?
Questionable at best. So, I mean, if I just work my way almost looking at the scorecard, I'm not going to go through everybody, but I thought in particular, Jitesh Sharma came in too early. I thought that was a poor decision from management. I think Sam Curran played a handy cameo, but it's a shame that he can't stick around. And he is somebody that truly averages 20. And he's one person that you can bank on getting 20, and you can bank on him not getting more than 20. So, you know, it works like from a technical standpoint, because if everybody gets 20, you've done really well. But yeah, no, in general, it was annoying that he couldn't stay around. Sikandar Raza, one of the worst impact players I've ever seen. If you need a batter, get a batter, because they didn't even bowl him. So why not get like, you know, Harpreet Bhatia, who is like a number 3. He's a bit of an anchor.
Rajapaksa.
Rajapaksa is injured.
Oh,
He's
enough.
still got his arm a bit injured. But and then Shahrukh Khan, waste of money. So, you know, there's various things that I would change about the side, and hopefully will change slightly about the side, because Livingston's just arrived and Rajapaksa should be okay for next game. So things can change. Some questionable stuff. I liked the idea that see a bench. I like the idea that that Shikhar Dhawan like put forward, which was we've got a lot of stuff to learn from, and I think that's true. And I think the mindset that he had after that brilliant innings was we've got lessons that we can learn, and I think there are clear lessons to take from this. Not just like, oh well, we've collapsed and we're not very good. It's no, we can literally learn how to better prepare for a situation like this, because all they needed to do was have one person to rotate the strike with Shikhar Dhawan, and we could have gotten to like 170, 180.
Yeah. I was actually going to mention that because Sunrisers Hyderabad have a very good bowling lineup. There's no weak link there. There's no bowler who you think, oh yeah, we can take them for a few sixes. And so you almost need that sensible play where you have another batsman. And I think that's why Punjab maybe, I know Rajapaksa and Livingston are more those big hitters and can be hit and miss, but they bring that experience in these 2020 leagues. And so they're vital to this Punjab lineup playing well, especially without Johnny Bairstow there, because Matthew Short versus Johnny Bairstow poles apart for me in terms of class in the IPL. I'm not saying Matthew Short's not a good batsman, but Johnny Bairstow is just a different class for me. So yeah, they need that extra person to just be able to rotate the strike and play that sensible innings. But Sunrisers like Rahul Tripathi played it really well. Aidan Markram back in the side also played a good hand. I'm just one last thing before we move on to talk about the last game. Thoughts on Harry Brook? He's not finding it easy at the moment, is he?
I'm not sure about him as an opener.
Mm.
I think we saw him work well in the World Cup when he batted at 4 or 5. I think he is out of position as an opener. He doesn't like facing it at the start. I think actually that Aidan Markram should drop down and we should see Harry Brook come in at 4 or 5. And I think that's how you get the best out of him. But yeah, he is just in a bit of a bad spell, isn't he? Like, he had a fantastic World Cup in India. And yeah, it's just not going his way, really, is it?
I thought Harry Brook didn't have a great World Cup, did he?
No, he struggled. He had like one good innings.
Yeah. So I think it was a desperation move, to be honest, having him open. And straight from the off, I thought Punjab were pretty much in for a shout. And if I can just hog the end of the Punjab versus Sunrisers game before we move on, I've got to say that there were lessons to be learnt with the bowling as well, because Harpreet Brar, I thought, bowled all right. Rahul Chahar bowled all right, just missing their lengths at vital points, and a few kind of misfields, drop catches. That's not what you want to see. Mohit Rathi, I feel sorry for him because I thought he was brought in at just the wrong situation, just the wrong point. It's a horrible game to try and make your debut when you're defending a relatively low total on a pretty decent track and you're a leg spinner, obviously really nervous. He pulled out of his first ball and then got booed by like a crowd of, more than 50,000. So it's rough and many lessons to come from it. But yeah, also some positives that I just can't think of yet. So we'll move on.
Can I just correct myself? Sorry, we will move on. The World Cup was in Australia, not India. I was talking absolute rubbish.
Yeah, I was a bit confused by that, but there we go.
The World Cup was in Australia.
In India.
Yeah. Right. Moving on to today's match. So RCB versus Lucknow Supergiants. RCB start things off, and I've got to say they batted very well, even if they did go a bit slowly at the start. And especially got tied down by spin. Maybe not right at the start, but they certainly got tied down by spin. Zach, as an RCB fan, what were your thoughts of RCB's batting innings?
I've got no concerns about RCB's batting. I think obviously a lot rides on Kohli, du Plessis, Maxwell. We know that, but RCB have the players in their squad to, depending on which overseas players are available, you can always bat deep, especially with Harshal Patel coming in at number 9, who's worked really hard on his batting and is a good finisher. So we've got some really good batting in there. And even if one of Faf du Plessis or Glenn Maxwell failed today, I still think we had batters to come who could do a good job. So I'm not concerned about the batting. I'm more concerned about the bowling, because the way Faf du Plessis is playing at the moment, his mentality and his batting, I've listened to some interviews that he's had. It's really positive. And the fact that Glenn Maxwell he just performs for RCB. He's the big show for a reason. And yeah, when he starts hitting the ball, it's just clean, and it's powerful, and it was what I like to see was Glenn Maxwell's kind of unorthodox way of batting, where he'd like scoop it to the cover point boundary versus Faf du Plessis just smacking it down the ground. Just two different styles. But yeah, it was awesome to watch. And I thought the way they played Mark Wood was very good. From Mark Wood, with his pace, he's going to bowl some very good balls, but he's going to have the odd bad delivery. And I think we just waited for that bad delivery very well. So yeah, I was impressed with how we played the Lucknow bowlers. What were your thoughts on Lucknow Supergiants batting to start with?
I think it was quite quiet, wasn't it? I think for me, Siraj had a blinder of a game. He was excellent at his bowling. It was just the rest of the team that let it down on that front. Siraj really, took to pieces Myers. Rahul used up 10-20% of the deliveries, and scored 18 off it when chasing over 200, which is always a terrible idea.
It's a smelly innings.
It was smelly innings. Deepak Hooda and Krunal Pandya, again, not doing very well until Marcus Big Man Stoinis with his big groin. I wanted to stop saying that as I was saying that.
Christopher Henry Stoinis
came in with Nick Purran, and to be honest, I'm really seeing why LSG invested in Nick Purran so much. And then low-key contribution award for me goes to Ayesh Badoni, who hit wicket, which is just never what you want to see. But I think
bizarre as well.
Badoni has been fantastic as an impact player for LSG. Yeah, it was just some fantastic death hitting from Purran and Stoinis, wasn't it, really?
Yeah, it was. Purran was unreal. Marcus Stoinis giving that impetus in like the middle overs, and then Purran really finishing it off. RCB's death bowling, it just doesn't exist, and that's a real issue for them. But what an amazing end as well. Ayesh Badoni would have got them over the line if he hadn't watched where the ball was going, because that little look over his shoulder meant that his bat just tickled the stumps and the bails fell off, which was pretty funny. And then things went right to the last ball and they ran the by. So who was it? Was it Harsha Patel, Mr. Mankad? My mind was blown at that point. One CNQ that we got from Look Who's Watching said, do you think it was wrong of Sunrisers to release Purran and invest so heavily on Brook? Because a left-handed wicketkeeper who plays spin well is a rare commodity. I think now we can kind of say, yeah, probably. What were you going to say, Zach?
I just think I was just going to finish with RCB's bowling, really, because I think we've got some good players there. Wayne Parnell, he's a good player. He's an experienced player. I think when Hazelwood comes back, he will switch for either Willie or Parnell, one of the two. But I agree with Ben. Siraj bowled really well. I think we need Hasaranga back, because Karen Sharma went for 48 off 3 overs. And I know he's bowled really well, but he's not in the same league as Hasaranga. And that adds that extra dimension. And I think Hasaranga could have been the difference in this game because Purran and Stoinis just took Karen Sharma to pieces. And that was a hard to watch. So yeah, I think RCB have the tools really to put together a good bowling lineup. I just think that it's too many consistent bad deliveries happening at this point in time. And I think that, like I said, they've got the tools. It's just putting it together and building that confidence. And all it takes is one good performance with the ball at the Chinnaswamy Stadium, and that will help them for the rest of the tournament. So yeah, agreed. Not too concerned at the moment.
Yeah, it was just I watched a good chunk where I was like, are they going to nail a Yorker? And there was slot balls, short, slow and wide, and down leg. And there was like one nailed Yorker in like 10 overs. So it is a big point that RCB need to work on. But there we go. A brilliant, brilliant game. A collection of brilliant games. And if you manage to reach the end of this marathon podcast, let us know by writing in the comments.
#DaddyDoney.
What? That's got nothing to. All right, yeah, sure, whatever. #DaddyDoney.
Oh,
that's
wow.
what you got to stick in the comments. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We really do appreciate all the support. You can follow our social medias down in the link tree in the description. Tell your friends about us. And other than that, we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.
See you later.